What's up, everybody?
You want to do it? Why don't you take a crack at it?
The juice is flowing. It is Wednesday, my favorite day of the week. You know what that means. Mike Ryan in the house, and it's all brought to you by Andejar and Levine, accident attorneys. Have you been injured in an accident? Have you been at a urinal at the Kaseya Center? If so, they've probably seen your dick. Andejar and Levine.
Very well done. Shout out to the #1 accident attorneys in South Florida. #1 fans in the country tuning in.
Is that their tagline?
I don't know. I hope
it should be Andejar and Levine. We've seen your dick.
I hope that I hope they like this this new marketing campaign, this edgy marketing campaign from the mind of Michael Ryan Ruiz. We got Peter Reese.
How
Peter,
can you not trust us? We've seen your dick.
Hop in, Pete. That's a record for expletives in the first 5 minutes.
I got plenty more. Take the over today, pal.
How we doing?
Set at 7.5. How am I doing? It's been a week, pal. It's not great.
Mike, your mic is like sideways. Straighten it up.
I'm sideways.
The mic is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Nice job, Mr. Big Time Radio.
Thank you.
Sounds so much better.
I love being produced. It's my passion. Hey, thank you for caring so much about the Houston community.
Yes.
Not enough people are crediting you.
Thank you.
Peter Ariz, last week you were cynical.
Community, man.
You just want to make history. Miami's moved up. Did you hear the company line from the CFP guys?
What's the line?
We are the biggest riser since they started these. Now, factually, us and 2 other programs have also climbed 6 spots, but I guess that's good. How you feeling about the propaganda war, Pete? How you feeling? I feel like we're chipping away. Progress week after week after week.
I mean, look, I would love to give you guys the credit. I think it probably had to do more with Utah looking how they looked. The propaganda doesn't seem to have helped much. We're within 3 spots of Notre Dame, and the head-to-heads doesn't seem to matter. So let's just go win 10. Let's go make history. Let's establish relevance. That's what Steve Kim says, establish points, not the run. I say establish relevance, not playoff berths. Let's establish relevance before we worry about stuff that's out of our control at this point. We can't do anything about it. Let's just beat Pitt and let the chips fall where they may. Everyone's worried about all this other stuff. Let's just win the darn ball game, man.
26 says the stream's about as clear as the committee's criteria.
I don't know, embarrassing. Not one bit. The criteria does tend to change week to week. It's hard to follow. First off, the initial person telling us what we had to do, he got blown out in a wave of controversy. That's not at all talked about. It said we needed to see a more consistent Miami. 3 games down, Miami looks pretty consistent. But 2 weeks ago, the offense needed to look better. Okay. One of the better offenses in the nation in the month of November. What now? Last week was Miami's not in the same tier as Notre Dame. And when pressed on it, well, if they ever get into that tier, head-to-head would be a premium, right? Absolutely. Week 4 of this nonsense. They're now in the same tier. And we don't give a crap about head-to-head because much like college football has baked this into the fiber of the sport, what matters on the field doesn't really actually matter. It's just what we think would play out on the field. Even when a result is held up to your nose, we're going to think we know better. Fine and dandy. I've come to the realization that the grave injustice of Miami finishing the season with the same record as Notre Dame and the primary tiebreaker not being head-to-head is going to happen. They have effectively conditioned the nation for this grave injustice. This is beyond wacky to me. If you told me this scenario would pop up in week 1, I would have said you were crazy. If you told me this after we lost to SMU, in which I said the biggest obstacle is going to be going 4-0, and I maintain that. We got a tricky game here, a game that we always lose. In the 21st century, we always lose this game. But all right, if we go 4-0 and Miami looks good doing it, there is no way on God's green earth that a committee would rank Notre Dame ahead of Miami. And here we are. It's the odds-on favorite, and it's going to happen. Now it's, can Miami get in? Miami's going to need some help getting in. Because if Miami does look dominant at Pitt and things don't break their way, they're going to be shut out of this. And that'll be a big conversation. It'll probably be, and I know people don't want to hear this because we hate FSU around here. I think that was criminal what happened to FSU. I maintain that. I think what happened during the season needs to matter. You can't have a bunch of bureaucrats in a room think they know what's going to happen and that be the finality on your season. It's so wrong. It is so terrible that just because of a narrative that they built because they are ESPN, that you can get shut out of this. I'm beside myself on it. In fact, I don't want to even talk about Notre Dame because I'm not going to surprise you with any of my opinions. I think Notre Dame should be in the college football playoff. I think they should be behind Miami. I think this is, can I curse? You don't want me to curse, right?
Yeah, you got your fill. The swear jar is full from that opening segment.
I said dick. That's not a curse. All right, so you don't want me to curse. Got it.
You go ahead. It's your show.
No.
We're out of focus anyways.
I'm not gonna say it. Can we do something about the focus beat, or is that
that's above my pay grade? I don't know.
Wait, is this your pay grade?
Like there, in terms of pay grade, over here at CanesInSight, you're the guy that we pay to figure it out.
I don't know how to use a camera. I don't know how to use a camera like that. I'm looking at it right here. It looks perfectly fine. If you guys want to come look
somebody
at it,
mentioned that when the ACC did their replay of that incomplete pass against Virginia Tech, that they used these cameras to evaluate whether the ball hit the ground.
How crazy was that game? Miami had an opportunity to put up style points, and I was battling on the front line.
It was crazy. We almost lost it at the end there, man. I was
survived a scare.
I mean,
Miami survived scare.
Were you not scared?
I was not.
When they got the onside kick.
At no point.
You're lying to yourself if you say that.
At no point. In fact, after, you can look this up, after they got the onside kick, I was like, Miami won that game. But if they played this game today, Virginia Tech would win. Miami won that game early on, but that was early. That was early in the game. Virginia Tech would have won that game. We had Bob Wischusen on the show today, a.k.a. Chuckle Bleep. And I think we made real progress there, Pete. I don't think that viewing experience is going to be like what it was on Saturday. Bob Wischusen. Yeah.
Man, what's that supposed to do for me?
Let's
go.
Lou Riddick.
What are any of those people? What are those people supposed to do for me? You know who can do something for me? Mario Cristobal, Carson Beck, and the Miami Hurricanes by going out there and winning on Saturday.
All right.
Bob Wischusen. Why do I care about these people, man? I care about what the Canes are going to do on Saturday, man. Let's stop the BS, man. Let's worry about what this team has to do, man.
I'm glad you mentioned Carson Beck because apparently he's now the latest goalpost that was moved on us. Like, we mentioned Carson Beck's stats. So Carson, not only do we have to beat Pitt, worse than Notre Dame beat Pitt, even though we beat Notre Dame, Carson Beck has to look good doing it too. I can't wait for what the criteria is. Now, I've maintained that losing your conference championship game should never be held against you. It's an extra game against a top-line opponent. We were fearful that it was going to happen to SMU, and it would have happened to SMU last year had they not made a late surge in that game. But now, D-Money, Peter Rees, people watching on YouTube, part of our loyal CanesInSight. How many posts and counting?
7.6 million.
7.6 million posts and counting. Incredible. If the committee is going to do this, where head-to-head no longer matters as a tiebreaker, and they're just going to do whatever they want, I'm going to do whatever I want. And I'm going to say, if you lose your conference title game, that knocks you down. I'm sorry. If it happens to an SEC team and it just so happens to be their third loss, if it happens to BYU and it's their second loss, and it comes at the hands of a Texas Tech team that is good.
Let me tell you something. You guys need better Wi-Fi at home. I just saw the stream. It looks beautiful to me.
Thank you. Miami should be ranked ahead of these teams now. It should hurt them. If Miami doesn't make their conference championship, okay, that stinks. I guess it's a strike against, but at least they didn't lose it the way that BYU did, or an SEC 2-loss team that now becomes a 3-loss team loses it, or a Big Ten team. Who knows? Like, all these things are out on the table. Nothing we know is real anymore. Head-to-head doesn't matter. Making your conference championship doesn't matter. How about that? Because that's how we fix an injustice here, D-Money. We just create more injustices, and we flood the zone with injustice. That's what we're going to do now. I'm furious. We're here. Miami's not jumping Notre Dame. It's insane to me. It is the most base level tiebreaker that you can think of. And that's about enough time for Notre Dame. We've given them plenty. We know what happened on that field. That wasn't a game that was won in the margins. That wasn't a fluke turnover here or there. That wasn't a trick play that caught him by surprise. That wasn't a bad call. That wasn't a missed field goal. That was a domination at the line of scrimmage. All right? Miami kicked their asses up front. And if you watch that game again, which I have this week, I subjected myself to that. If you want to come away with a take that, yeah, there was room for improvement for one team, and your answer is Notre Dame, you watched the wrong game. Miami could have gone up 3 scores in that game. Should have. Miami let Notre Dame make that look good. There was meat on the bone for Miami, not for Notre Dame. You want to talk to me about C.J. Carr's first game of the season? C.J. Carr was the best player on that field for Notre Dame. How much better is C.J. Carr going to play against Miami's defense? How much better? But, D-Money, I don't know if you heard. There was one team that played on that field that was working in a new defensive coordinator. I mean, you got to give it to Notre Dame. That's tough. That's a tough hand. They were working in a new defensive coordinator. Their national runner-up defense that had Al Golden running it before he left. They had to work in a whole new, not a whole new defense with all new players and a new defensive coordinator, just a new defensive coordinator. Apparently that Notre Dame was the only team that was dealt that hand for that game.
Yeah, one quarterback had a new brace in his elbow for the first time, taking it for a test drive on national TV. Seemed to work just fine, though, to carve up that Notre Dame secondary. Got a lot of super chats here. Mike, you're fired up today.
Yeah,
I really see the smoke pouring out of the mic right now.
I already promised twice that I'm not going to talk about Notre Dame anymore. And how many more times do you think I'm going to talk about Notre Dame?
Clutch asking, appreciate your support. Is Bama solely behind MB to create a gap? Because, WTF.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look, Bama obviously got a lot more quality wins than Notre Dame. Quality losses, remember, bad losses is the story of the day. So maybe they're at least consistent because Bama does have the worst loss of all these losses.
Is it?
To FSU, I would say.
If quality losses matter, and Alabama has 2 losses, one to Florida State, a common opponent with Miami. Miami doesn't have a loss that's worse than that.
No, 2-5 in the ACC. 818 appreciates you. Says head-to-head matters in all sports. Colts Broncos week 1. Colts beat Broncos. Both teams end 12-5. Who has the 1 seed? Colts, doesn't matter what happened week 1. The Broncos are looking better at the end of the season. Great point from A1 Cali Kane. Simple analogy. I agree totally. I have nothing else to say other than I want to steal this and use this because this is very accurate. Only sport where this matters.
In every sport, the chief tiebreaker is head-to-head.
And week 1 tiebreaker and week 12 tiebreaker doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Mo Hussein, appreciate you. 1 win away from back-to-back 10-win seasons. First time in over 20-plus seasons.
Establish relevance, man. Establish relevance.
History.
All that hashtag establish relevance. All that matters. Momentous occasions on deck here for the
Got to get it done. Mouth the G says it comes down to Miami playing some sloppy fourth quarters in the conservative days. ND has simply beat Lesser's clean.
I have a question for you, D, because you've been very confident throughout your Miami Hurricanes fandom, public fandom. You have been saying Miami should be in the playoff, but at the same time, you're not confident they get the job done. How does that make any sense? I'm darn confident we win this game by 2 scores. This team's ready.
Really?
This team's dialed in. Oh, I've been saying it the last 3 weeks. This team
You've been right.
This team has been so dialed. Carson Beck is in a fantastic place right now. Why are we worried about this game?
Well, because
if we're gonna fight for this team to be in the playoffs,
He's
right?
on fire. What's up in Houston?
If we are going to fight for this team, we can't speak out of both sides of our mouth. I'm not going to fight for the team publicly. They got to go do what they got to do on the field, and then we can have a conversation or two. You guys have been having these conversations at the same time, not being confident about the if they get it done. Got to get it done. Got to get it done. Build the darn statue already. Let's go establish relevance, man. I'm sorry, we can't have it both ways here. What are we concerned about? Is this a playoff team or not? Is this a playoff team or not?
Yes.
We'll find out on Saturday.
Well, then why are we publicly advocating for it if we don't believe it?
Because it's working. You're welcome. I mean, it's working. Miami has dominated the narrative from these CFP releases for the last 2 weeks when we decided, okay, I think we figured out offense a little bit. Let's fight this.
You don't think
thank
that,
God
that
we started
Miami continuing to handle business is doing it? Let's go win number 10.
No,
man.
no. I think if we were silent, Miami would be behind Utah and Vanderbilt.
That's right. Moving on up. This committee said we've moved up more than any team in the nation.
Mm-hmm. I think if we were silent, Utah would still be ahead of Miami. I think
so. It wasn't the fact that Kansas State took them to the wire.
Helped. If Utah blows out Kansas State, no, maybe you're right, but all this stuff matters. You're dealing with bureaucrats that are impressionable, that are literally making it up as they go along. We are now seeing that. The rules of previous years don't matter. Criteria week to week shifts. So yeah, I think it matters. I think Miami being the most talked about team when it comes to these CFP rankings and people having an ideological discussion and debate as to wins and losses mattering, as to head-to-head, like this is absolutely an ideological discussion. This is, what do you want football to be? What do you want college football to be? Do you want to see Miami play Kennesaw State going forward? Or do you want to see Miami playing, Oklahoma and scheduling Auburn and keeping their dates with South Carolina? This is ideological. If you think that this is okay, if you think that two teams with the same record, when Notre Dame, and D-Money's been speaking to it, does not actually have an impressive resume. They don't. They're flat track bullies. They've been getting fat off of tomato cans. If you think that two teams with a similar resume and the same exact record, and the team that lost a head-to-head matchup, no matter where it happened in the season, should be ranked ahead because this is the reasoning, we just think they're the more complete team, they're the better team. If you're okay with that being decided by 13 people in a smoky room that don't know their head from a hole in the ground, then you need to, if you're a pollster, if you're a coach that's voting in that poll, you need to ask yourself that question. Are you okay with this? Because it's a war on football.
War games, Saturday night.
It's war games.
Is he prepped for rest of the week?
It's a match beyond.
Let me tell you something, man. Paul Heyman.
It's a match beyond.
Paul Heyman was putting on a show on first. He
was.
On a darn show.
To me, it's like it's bigger than just Miami, Notre Dame, because they'll do it to Miami. They'll do it to another team. They're conditioning you to be okay with this.
But Mike, we don't care if it happens to another team.
We do. I cared when they screwed over Florida State. I'm old enough to remember the Baylor TCU debates. It matters because I don't want it happening to us. And here it is. Here it is now. We're here. It's happening to us.
What is happening to us right now? Are they gardening the roof? Are they mowing the roof? We got some situations.
Guys,
the committee's coming after us here.
Hunter Yurichek has found our location.
You're gonna have 6, 7.
Yeah,
Wow,
6, 7.
That's dope.
Let me tell you something, though, Mike. He did that last night, and he's been the discussion, right? All good PR, but that's the same thing we're doing, man. We look like crybabies, man. Let's go finish the damn mission.
What did I tell you about war? It doesn't determine who is right. Determines who is left. You talked a good amount on all the shows. I'm
liking it. I'm taking a step back. I can talk plenty. Go ahead, guys. Let it rip.
So there's a weird cell phone happening right now that I've seen. And this has been like the company line from Notre Dame, which is just like strange. I don't even think they know what they're doing. The only reason Miami is in this discussion is because they beat us. Yeah? Yes. You're right. The only reason Miami is in the CFP discussion is because they're sitting at 2 losses and not 3. And they beat you. It's a feather in the cap. What's the only reason you're in this discussion? Because from where I'm sitting, the only reason you're in the discussion is because you lost to us? How does that make sense?
You know what, Mike, can I tell you the only reason they're in the discussion? The only reason Notre Dame's ever in these discussions where they're treated differently than everybody else is because they were very good at football before black people were allowed to play football in major college football. Let's just cut all the BS. Let's get straight to the point here. Yeah. The only reason we talk about Notre Dame differently than anybody else, the only reason they're allowed to be in their own conference by themselves, have their own NBC TV deal, is because they were really good at football before black people were allowed to play football.
I've done a riff on this.
This is the bottom line truth of Notre Dame.
There's a white guy pitching it to another white guy. He's running down the sideline. There's another white guy. Oh, he's getting tackled by yet another white guy. Notre Dame, national champions.
we have not been good for a long time. Miami Hurricanes not been good for a long time.
We've only been good for about 14 years in our program's history. Just reminding everyone, 83 to 93, great run, fantastic run, and then 4 years in the early 2000s. Let's go win 10. Talking about all this stuff, man. This is ridiculous. We've done nothing in the last 20 years, man, and we're complaining about this garbage? Let's go win 10. Let's go beat Pitt. What are we talking about right now?
What we have done is won 3 championships as Notre Dame won their last one. And the one that they won was only because the instant replay system was not invented, and there was a red call against
Notre Dame gone to? How many championships have Notre Dame gone to in the last 10 years?
To get blown out, embarrass themselves.
I want to be blown out, embarrassed in the national championship.
I would love that too.
I want to be blown out, embarrassed.
I would like to as well. Look, we're not going to win that battle with Notre Dame. They've been more relevant. Notre Dame was in the ACC 1 year. Amazing how the ACC let them have. Amazing. We'll get to the ACC in a second. Cucks. That's what one of the C's stands for in the ACC. Absolute cucks. Notre Dame was going to go through an entire COVID season without football, and we're like, well, we'll help you out, but you're going to have to be in the ACC for a year. Your success can never be our success. You can fatten your schedule up with the bottom of this conference, as long as you occasionally play some of the top of the heap, and you get to use the conference for all the other sports. You make it to the national championship game. It's not a credit to the ACC. It's a credit to your independence. I want to be independent. It seems as though I'm being weighed down here. I know if Notre Dame had to play a conference game at SMU, it'd probably go the same way that it's gone for every team that's gone to SMU and tried to play a conference game. They lose. No one's done it yet. No one's gone into that stadium playing an ACC football game and won. I've had to subject myself to these people telling me Louisville is a bad loss when they played Louisville last year and won that game by 1 score. These people suck.
By the way,
they're awful people. And this is probably, I'm just off the top of my head, the greatest Catholic Church scandal of our lifetimes, if not top 2.
So Joe says that Stanford's coach talks some BS about us. I think Frank Reich was upset at Mario because he thought we ran up the score on him in the game.
Yeah, I saw what you saw. Like, he said that Notre Dame's probably the best team they've played all year.
Yeah, but I heard after that Miami game, like before all this other stuff happened, that just after the Miami game, that Frank Reich was upset because, I don't know, Emory Williams was throwing the ball against them for touchdowns. So I don't really care about Frank Reich or Stanford or any of them.
Frank Reich,
I hope
you joke.
I hope Notre Dame has a gentleman's code and doesn't run the score against Stanford. But of course, you know they will, because they are, in fact, the can crusher, and that is what they do against teams that are not, Miami, Texas A&M. I guess in Boston College too.
So you wouldn't want the Canes to do the same thing?
No, I want us to score.
We have to.
I want us to
What are you getting on them about for?
We have to.
I wish we ran up the score more against Notre Dame when they were, struggling. But it is what it is.
Lou Riddick and Chuckle Bleep told us we have to.
I thought Chuckle Bleep was your boy.
He is my boy. I guarantee you, if you're watching that game, you're gonna have a different experience with it than you had at Blacksburg. Well, I think the war is being fought on the front lines here, boys. I'm in the foxhole. I've gone crazy. And I really hope to God Mario Cristobal and this football team have my back, because my neck is out there, folks. I'm nervous about it. We don't win this game. I'm going to be out there in the shivering cold, 30 degrees, trying to win a game I haven't seen my team win in 2 decades. Yeah, I'm worried about it.
No suite, right? You guys are going with in the club seats, right?
To be determined.
Are you trying to push for the suite? After all this talk
I
about
have
the cold?
I have the whole trip booked. I don't have tickets yet. I'll get in there.
But what, you're gonna go suite? You're gonna be in the cold. You're talking about the cold.
I don't like being in the cold.
You're talking about your bravery here. You can't say talk the bravery and then go in the suite.
D, you're not going there. You're not on the front lines.
I'm not.
You're not on the front lines.
I'm not. No, I'll be on the front lines of giving kids rides.
I've seen your score predictions.
I think we're going to play well this game. I've been
that inspired confidence.
I've been watching a lot of Pitt. I've watched about 4 games the last couple of days, and just breaking down the numbers. I see a team that is dangerous. Certainly at home, the quarterback's a very good player. They're going to have a couple issues in terms of protecting Heinzel. If Miami can keep him in the pocket, be disciplined with their rush, avoid some of the crazy Pavia, Manziel stuff that he likes to pull, keep him in the pocket, I think they're going to get a bunch of sacks. And Pitt has not run the ball except against Georgia Tech, which is a very poor run defense. Miami has to play like a top-ranked run defense, which they are, and shut that down, I think
You're not worried about last week that Virginia Tech was essentially running a triple option. I don't think Pitt's going to try any of that stuff because it's such a departure. But for our great defense, it's awesome at stopping the run. We had a devil of a time against Virginia Tech. Now, I think some of those personnel issues, they started to rear their ugly head. I knew from the very first snap when they ran right at Bryce Fitzgerald, like, oh boy, they know. And Lucas did a good job of like making up for that, but I thought he didn't exactly cover himself in glory in that game either.
No, that first play was tough. Damari Brown had a couple tough reps. The run defense wasn't very good. Deshaun Stu, please tell us you expect a close game that leads to blowouts. I mean, I expect a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I hope it is.
Is that a black Sebastian the Ibis?
That's pretty cool, Mike. That's our guy Sean Stu. He's been around forever.
So it is a black Sebastian the Ibis.
I guess you have to ask Sean. I think so. But yeah, when it comes to the running game, Virginia Tech's a very good running game. They're not a very good team. In fact, they're a bad team, but their running game was top 25 pretty much across the board.
Drones turns into Ben Roethlisberger when he plays Miami. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's one thing I think in this game against Heinzel. We blitzed DBs a lot, and they had a little bit of trouble bringing him down just because he's so big. I would lean on my defensive backs bringing pressure against Heinzel. He struggled with that in all the games that I watch, because when it comes to the defensive lineman, he's quick enough and has enough feel to avoid those guys for the most part. But when the faster guys get after him, he's not the biggest guy, so he's not breaking tackles like Drones, and he's not the fastest guy relative to, a defensive back. So those guys were giving him problems. So that's just something I'd be looking for. Is Jacoby Thomas, sounds like he's healthy, is he going to be there blitzing, causing problems for Heinzel? Is it going to be, Damari Brown potentially causing problems for Heinzel? We saw Bryce Fitzgerald, Poiser, Dylan Day, all those guys bringing pressure against Kyron Drones. Could we see something similar this week? That's what I'm looking for, because Pitt, not very good in terms of protecting the quarterback, and they're in the hundreds. Same as their running game in the hundreds. Virginia Tech in the top 25. We'll see if we can stop that. What's going on?
You have a banner hanging over your head?
There it is, back-to-back 10-win seasons, baby. Did you just make that on AI while you were on the break?
No, I've had it ready. I'm trying to get one printed actually for the post game.
Is that a rocket? Sean Stu has clarified it's a Sebastian wearing a ski mask.
There you go.
I'm glad he did that for the chat, because a lot of people thought it was blackface too. So.
Like a minstrel ibis. The Arena, appreciate your support, says we should not play Notre Dame next year if we don't get in. I know we have to, but why play the games if they don't count? I kind of agree with that. I really do. If we don't get credit for the win, why are we even playing them? I mean, we're playing with the money.
I'm not going to pivot yet. Right now, it's all about if we played Notre Dame, we'd beat them. That's what the messaging has to be, because that's what the argument is. Well, if the two teams played today, we're just taking that line down. Who would win? Man, Miami would win. I saw that game. You kicked your ass at the line of scrimmage. Miami let you back in that game. Miami would win. Miami would absolutely win. So for me to carry out that message, GCD money, and then to all of a sudden be like, we shouldn't play these guys next year in South Bend because it's unfair. I can't do that just yet. I can't follow you there.
It's frustrating when you do something, you stick your neck out, and you're not rewarded for it. The incentive structure is not there, but we'll see. There's a long time till the dust is settled and we have our playoffs set up.
I do. Sergio does bring up a good point. Pitt linebackers think they can create big turnovers on Beck if he isn't on his game.
Yeah.
What Pitt is going to do on the other side of the ball, we know what they're going to do. They're going to run blitz. They're going to try to eliminate that run game. I thought Shannon Dawson was really funny in one of his press availabilities. I guess I should have run it up the middle more. Run game wasn't exactly there. I know Fletcher's working himself back. Now, this is a big Fletcher game because you have espoused how great he is in pass protection. He is elite at that. He is he's basically like Lorenzo Neal. Picking up blitzes back there. He's awesome. So we're going to need him there. But they're going to dare Carson Beck to be Carson Beck, the one that we've seen for the last 3 weeks. Carson's going to have to keep having that incredible accuracy. He's put up, quite frankly, one of the more efficient seasons at the position in Miami history. It's not being talked about enough because you have that 4 interception performance. But I think he has a legitimate shot. Can we look this up, Pete? I think he might have the best passing completion in UM history. That's in play.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Little known fact.
I think second or third in the nation.
Mainstream Miami Hurricanes media hasn't wanted to mention it until this week.
I think he's second to Julian Sain as well. Yeah, but on the linebackers, number 3 Biles, number 9 Kyle Lewis. They're really like safeties more than linebackers. They'll probably play safety if they get to the next level. But they're really fast. They can hit. They can tackle. The run defense of Pitt is a strength of their team. They're top 10 in yards per carry against, also top 10 in takeaways. Linebackers have a lot to do with it. Just the overall attack and mentality has to do with it. I think if you're Miami, the keys to the game, one of those is you turned it over 4 times, or threw 4 interceptions against Louisville, threw 2 interceptions against SMU. Cannot let history repeat itself. Even CJ Carr threw a ton of interceptions against Pitt, and that was a blowout. He had 2 really, really bad ones that went the other way.
Ooh.
So, and they still won big. But even in a strong performance, they had to deal with turnovers. There's a team that thrives on taking the ball away.
Not overthinking this. I saw a crazy PFF stat that Malachi Tony hasn't had a drop all season.
Yeah.
So you have
he's the 3rd highest rated receiver in the country besides Jeremiah Smith and Mekhi Lemon.
So let's not overthink this one. They're going to dare you to throw the ball. You have the most efficient quarterback in the University of Miami's history throwing the ball to one of the most efficient receivers in the nation, and you win that way. We have our best playmakers on offense working in tandem with one another. We're taking what the defense gives us, and it just so happens to be efficient and often explosive. This needs to be a Carson Beck game. This needs to be a Malachi Tony game. And pass protection, obviously discipline and creativity on offense has been working out really well. I like Malachi in that backfield. The defense is now scared of Malachi Tony throwing the ball. He's going through progressions back there. It's an added layer. It's another reason why I feel like Miami should be discussed as a better team since their losses. That seems to only be given to Notre Dame. Notre Dame's better since their losses. It's not like Miami's fixed their issues, right? It's a crazy narrative. You can almost tell who's not watching college football anymore. They checked in on the SMU game. They're like, all right, I know who Miami is. And baked into these rankings is the expectation that Miami's going to fall on their face. So be undeniable.
Be undeniable. Play good football.
Establish relevance.
Yeah, well, what does it say? Establish the run, establish points. Got to establish points. Got to start fast in this game. It's a noon game. Everybody's going to be watching. I think starting fast is critical for perception, for the actual winning the game, which is the most important thing. I think those first few drives, Miami's really going to need to come out firing. You know, Pitt's going to be coming after them with everything they got. The passing game is going to be critical here for Carson Beck. They're going to dare Carson Beck's remade arm to beat them. And you heard the committee. What's the guy's name? Yarocek. What do you call him?
Hunter Yurachek. Respect it.
Yurachek.
He was talking about Carson Beck's improvement passing, specifically saying he looks like one of the top passers in the country. I don't know why that's so relevant to this exercise. I mean, whatever.
The latest thing they
just pick whatever they want. But
they
look, he is playing very well. Now he played well against Notre Dame in the first game of the season too, but certainly he's playing some of his best football against some of the worst competition on the schedule. Now playing against a Pittsburgh team that's not lights out on defense, but plays that tough style of defense and really puts the onus on the quarterback to beat them. We'll see how he's going to be able to get that thing going.
Are you with me that conference championships, it shouldn't matter anymore? Like if you lose that game, it's a loss. It's a loss that gets held against you. You don't get bonus points for making it anymore.
I don't understand.
If we're just going to make it all up.
I understand the conference championships in general. The point of them at this point, when you had like the playoffs, it seems outdated. The tiebreakers are so esoteric. We're just like trying to figure trigonometry out to see who goes where. I don't think the best teams are playing in the conference championship, certainly in the ACC.
He tried to abolish conference championships yesterday.
They're just like, it's all tiebreakers. But Duke might get in the conference championship. Yeah, but that's not the best team.
Yeah, but you guys want to talk about head-to-head mattering. Every sport has conference championships. Every sport has conference championships. So you want to abolish conference?
Wait, no, they don't.
Okay, so in the NFL, the AFC doesn't have a conference championship. The NFC, you can't get 2 teams from the AFC in the championship. That's not how it works.
It's a playoff.
Yeah,
we could play. If you want to do an ACC playoff, we'd happily do that.
Abolish conference championships. So let's abolish head-to-head. It doesn't matter, right?
Pete,
That's what you want to do.
Every sport does not have a.
Every sport has a conference championship. Every sport has a conference championship. What sport doesn't have a conference championship? Soccer, the greatest sport in the world.
A conference championship game?
What? The AFC is not a conference championship game?
That's the playoffs.
Okay, so you want to, but
They don't
that's
have
the
an
same,
AFC
it's the
East
same sort of
championship
thing, though.
game.
You want to abolish it.
I'm not
because-
abolishing it.
Okay,
I'm not.
thank you, Mike.
I'm not. No, I think it's a ridiculous take. Here's my solution.
You know,
for
Duke might play in this one.
Yeah.
Because of all the weird tiebreakers that no one can understand. That's not football.
Duke's
Guys,
not
there's an
playing in this
easy way to
thing.
fix
Duke's
it.
not winning this
There's
thing.
an easy way to fix it. Right now, you have these mega conferences. It is what it is. You have a situation last year where Indiana makes it to the CFP because they didn't play anybody. Oregon's schedule is trash. They're getting fat. We don't actually know how good they are. We all believe Texas A&M to be a good team. What's their best conference win? Mizzou? There's like 7 ranked teams in the SEC, and Texas A&M is about to finally play one of them. You know, that's the conference expansion. Now, I do think adding a conference game, all these conferences are adding an additional conference game that'll mitigate the issue some, but I have the easiest solution for it. And it's not no conference championship games. It's the introduction of a conference semifinal and a conference final.
All right. I'm with that.
You guarantee that everybody that is in the mix that is good enough gets to play. It's not, we're already watching Oregon State and Washington State play each other for the second time this season in their conference that just has 2 teams, but you guarantee the best team makes it out of there. You have good data in a conference semifinal. I don't think the narrative of SMU's no good. Well, how can you say that? They made it to the conference semi, and we played a game that would get you to a conference championship game. That means something. You get more games of importance. It helps everybody. It helps your television partners. I think you introduce in all the major conferences the P4 conference semifinals and then a conference final the following week. You can take away one of the regular season games. You can take away one of those conference games and just, what we're going to do here is we're going to have the CFP decide who the best 4 teams are. That'll be 1 through 4 in the CFP, in the ACC conference semis. We'll rank them according to the CFP, and then we'll play that out. And I think we'd have a better idea of who's the best team in each conference if we did it that way.
Nick Isaac's saying, seriously, how many more loopholes we create in conference semis? Really? How about we don't lose to SMU?
Yeah, honestly, that was the play. We're talking about that was the playoff bracket. You got to win. You got to win at least one of those games. We don't have that.
No, I get it, but look, I mean, Virginia loses to
chance.
NC State, which doesn't count as a conference game
because it wasn't because they scheduled it out of conference. That's
I mean,
they set the precedent.
The whole thing is just
beforehand.
convoluted.
I don't get upset at that. They got the approval before it happened. Like, that's not, to me. I don't know what you want me to say about that. That was already done beforehand. It's not like they lost a conference game.
SMU lost at home this season to Baylor. That's a bad loss for the ACC. The Big 12 has actually done pretty well head-to-head against the ACC, which is strange because the ACC will. God, I hope Georgia Tech beats Georgia. That'd be fun.
That defense is terrible, Georgia Tech. I was watching that Pitt film, and that Georgia Tech defense is as bad as I've seen.
But now we're right back in Coach Key's sweet spot.
Yeah,
counted out underdog. This is where he eats. But if that's an ACC conference game, SMU's effort level is different. I know we sound crazy because we're jokes. We've only made it to Charlotte once, qualified twice. This self-penalized once.
They shouldn't have done that in retrospect.
Shouldn't have. It was BS, but
that's
we did.
Why we want to abolish the ACC championship, because we can't get there.
And the ACC championship would have been Miami FSU that year, the year that we self-imposed. Little trivia for you. But when Pat Narduzzi is saying, like, I could lose 110-3 to Notre Dame and later having to apologize for it, that stuff matters. Games of importance inside your conference. You have an opponent that is familiar for you, that is trying not to show too many layers of their offense because they know their path to the CFP is through that conference, and it's just a different animal playing in these conference games. And you see, like, I understand Notre Dame strolls into town with, well, we make their season if they beat Notre Dame. Cool. Miami has that, and also the fact that they're playing in conference games. I really don't understand how Notre Dame has built this reputation. The primary argument for Notre Dame is, yeah, they lost, but they lost close games, the good teams. Like, this is asinine to me that they get more for losing to Miami than Miami gets for beating them. It's true.
I'll tell you one thing that is Miami gets and has a benefit of all year round, which is that right across from the University of Miami in the Dayland Mall Dining Pavilion, you have East Las Canarias Cuban Express, the #1 Cuban restaurant on the planet. And I know, Mike, you got Thanksgiving stuff going on. I don't know if you're dealing with in-laws plus your own family. You're trying to balance multiple parties. If you're trying to balance multiple parties, you don't want to cook. You want to do the bare minimum, but still be the star of the party. Go to Islas Canarias Cuban Express. Both Pete and Mike are texting orders right now to make sure they got it ready for when the show's over. Go to Islas Canarias Cuban Express. Get all your catering done. However many croquetas you need, empanadas, you want the whole mixed assortment. You just want one thing. Go there, get your catering done. They got a huge catering menu to get you ready for Thanksgiving, to get you ready for Christmas, to get you ready for whatever. Or if you just want to go eat there for lunch, I was there last week. It was phenomenal. Dayland Mall Dining Pavilion. Nobody does it better than Islas Canarias Express, #1 Cuban restaurant on the planet.
We've done enough venting. We've done enough Notre Dame. Let's not say Notre Dame. Let's treat it like JoJo Trader. Let's embargo Notre Dame for the rest of the show.
No, Notre Dame is done. Let's actually go back here. I want to go back to the Virginia Tech game. All right. So some of you guys may remember during the Virginia Tech game, there was a scary moment. It was a moment where Malachi Tony, there you see it right there, was on a very long catch and run.
You're gonna get us.
With the copyright? I'm not
Don't
playing it.
disseminate.
It's just a picture. Just a picture. Malachi Tony on a very long catch and run, and he collided with a young sideline spectator right there who narrowly avoided a tough hit to the head. She took it like a complete trooper, bounced up, ready to rock and roll, like Tom Brady getting sacked, bouncing up and showing it didn't hurt. Malachi Tony, total gentleman, showing the nation some Miami class, letting up the young lady. And it wasn't just any young lady. We have her here. She is a budding media star. You may have seen her on her Instagram, our Instagram, Canes Connection, all over. She has been doing a lot of stuff with the University of Miami and beyond. She's a student at the University of Miami and a name to keep an eye on in the media world. And she is alive and well. She's going to tell us a little bit about her moment in the sun there during the Virginia Tech game. And that is Ashley Friedland. Oh, there she is. Ashley.
Hi.
I'm loving that you. That's like a
Oh my
wow,
gosh.
royal you behind you.
I know, right? We have it jerry rigged in a way to stay up there. Hopefully it lasts. But yeah, I thought it looked pretty good where it is.
So let us know how you're feeling. There are a lot of concerned people. Went viral. I saw Barstool Sports tweeting about it. I saw a million accounts tweeting about the incident. Give us the injury report on Ashley Friedland as we head into the pit game.
Well, it was kind of a gnarly hit. I don't really remember the hit, which is kind of crazy. I didn't actually hit my head, which is thankfully that would have been disastrous. But I don't remember the hit just because of the adrenaline. But I've seen that video so many times that I just narrowly missed that pole. I'm so thankful that I didn't. Mally's a great guy. Thanks for picking me up. He keeps asking about me, which I appreciate. But yeah, no, I'm feeling all right. I have whiplash, but you know, that was bound to happen. A minor headache, but I'll be at pit on Friday. My producers want me there. So get back on the horse and keep riding, I guess.
So off the injury list, probable. What was the moment where you like kind of woke up and realized what was going on?
Well, I tried getting out of the way, which I don't think people realize. Because earlier in the season, I actually got hit after a play and I broke my wrist. So the odds that it's happened to me twice is insane. I don't know how it keeps happening. But I saw Mally coming my way and I moved back, which I think was probably the worst place I probably could have moved because I was in his direct line. And then he was coming at me and I was like, not again, not again, not again. And then boom. And then I don't really remember what happened. But as soon as I stood up, I was like, wow, this is going to hurt later. And then Michael Irvin came my way and he was like, that's going to hurt tomorrow. I was like, yeah. So Michael was like, you're going to be in pain. I was like, no, I'm going to be in pain.
Now, Ashley, there were some people theorizing on social media that you almost died because from the angle that we saw, your head was directly in front of like a steel post of some sort. Now, was that a perspective issue or did you really come that close to being knocked out by this steel pole and something really bad happening?
Yeah, no, I was centimeters, inches away from hitting that railing. And what we think at the back at Hecht is that the Lane Stadium had gotten in trouble originally with like the ADA with not having a ramp. So we assume that's why that ramp or that stadium is designed the way it is because it's really in a terrible place. But no, I really was that close.
Damn.
Yeah.
We got
that could have been bad.
We got a comment
real
here.
bad.
Mike was talking about maybe going to the pit game and being in a suite. He was trying to decide whether he's going to be in the cold or he's going to be in the suite. they want to know, are you going to be in the suite and the air conditioning, resting, the injury, or are you going to be in the cold with the team?
I may make my way to the press box at some points.
You got to be safe a little bit now after these 2 hits in a row, 3 strikes. It's tough.
I know.
Yeah, no one likes 30-degree weather. You're following this team much like we are. There is this narrative that the 2-loss Miami team, the team that lost to SMU, that's who Miami is really. And yet, if you're actually watching these games, you know that Miami is playing different. They are cleaning up some of their own procedural problems. But really, I think the most important thing is the different looks that they're giving on offense. I know we talked A-gap ad nauseum, but there's a lot more creativity that is happening on offense right now. What does Miami learn from their loss at SMU? How are vibes around this team? It seems as though the guys are playing a more fun style, and their effort level and their joy is reflecting that.
Oh yeah, I can tell you the vibes in this locker room are maybe they're in great spirits. I mean, they know that they have to win out. They know what they're capable of at the same time. And I mean, you talk to any of them, you talk to Carson, you talk to Mally, you literally talk to any of those starters, and they're just happy that they're in the conversation right now for playoffs, and they're more so happy that they're playing great football, and that's kind of undeniable. You look at the SMU game, you look at the Louisville game, and it comes down to silly mistakes, but they know what they're capable of, and it's a great time to be a Miami Hurricane fan because you never know what's going to happen, and it's exciting. They're all in great spirits. They're excited to keep playing football, and they're excited to beat Pitt.
Now, Ashley, for those who don't know, you're a real insider. When I was out there at practice, I feel like half the time when we'd go during the week and it wasn't like the big practices on the weekends, it'd be like me, you, and like Miss Tony, Malachi's mom out there, pretty much just us, right, watching practice. And then, of course, all the staff and coaches. But the Malachi Tony emergence, I feel like you had a front row seat in camp. What we're seeing now really was not a surprise when you were there in August, seeing him do it consistently against this defense.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's a superstar. He's freshly 18. He's a quarterback. He's a running back. He's a receiver. You put him wherever you want to put him, and he's going to make a play. And it's a great day. It's a great time to be Malachi Tony. I mean, that guy. And he's also a great person. I mean, just yesterday or 2 days ago, he was giving out turkeys back in his community. So he's just an overall outstanding person. And I'm so happy that I've gotten to know him and that he's on this team.
What's it like being on the sideline? It's funny, you casually mentioned like Michael Irvin checking on you. That doesn't always happen. I don't know if that happens on other sidelines that Hall of Famers just kind of check on you. But being around, Michael Irvin, I know Danny Ramirez, Hollywood star, was at the game. I mean, Blacksburg, this was not, LA, right? This is a pretty out there locale, and you still had superstars there, including yourself. So what's it like being on that Miami sideline?
Oh, there's nothing like it, really. I mean, I have to sometimes take a step back and realize that I have an incredible opportunity to stand where I am standing, because there are so many greats that have come out of this university, and they're all consistently on the sideline. Like you look at Michael Irvin, I don't think he's missed a game yet. And at the NC State game, he had to leave early, and he put up a fit. He's like, no, I'm not going. We were like, you got to go, Michael. And he had another obligation somewhere, but it's just insane. And the people that I've connected with, and people that are starting to build a relationship with me, I'm super fortunate to have. Danny Ramirez checked on me. He was like, are you good? I'm like, oh, I'm good right now. Checking on me in like 24 hours. And I don't know, but it's just truly incredible down there. Everybody's happy. Everybody's like, it's the Canes. Like it's just a great community down there.
So real quick, Ashley, before we let you go, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you, just some of the stuff that you're working on. You're still a student, so you're just in the very beginning of this journey, but just some of the media stuff that you're already putting out and that you plan to put out here in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I have my Instagram page that I'm basically run all of my media off of, which is called Ashley Friedland Media. And I post everything I do on there, all my packages for my broadcasts, all my sideline reports, they all go there.
So remember the name, Ashley Friedland. She's alive and well, and she's already back. Well, didn't even miss a game. Did not even miss a game. Missed a couple. You wore the jersey, the non-contact jersey for a couple practices, and you're back in.
Little worried she doesn't remember the hit. That is kind of indicative of a concussion.
Exactly. But hey, we're making it back. It's good. It's all good.
Well, hopefully you have an illustrious career, and then 10 years from now, when you're roaming the sidelines for a big network, They'll be like, Malachi Tony catches that touchdown, and Ashley, you actually had an interaction with him in college. Blah, blah, blah.
Right?
There it is.
Little chuckle
It'll be
fest
a
at
whole
your
big
expense.
social moment. It'll be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, Ashley, hope to do this again. Thank you so
Yes,
much. Glad to
of
hear you're well, and let's go beat Pitt.
Right? Let's be Pitt. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
Anytime. Go Canes.
Dog, she ate that hit too. Like that was a big impact. You saw her neck
Oh,
flew
it-
forward, and I was like, surely her head couldn't have come that close to that railing, but apparently it did. Thank God that's all that happened. She bounced right back up because that could have been bad.
No, she bounced back up, like you said, quick. Mally acted like a total pro. So ultimately, both of them very good represent. If somebody's going to go viral, obviously it was an accident. No one wants that to happen.
Mhm.
But if it's going to go viral, you want everybody to come off looking good. And I thought they both did. So shout out to her.
She also gave great insight. Hey, Bright Eyes, did you hear how great this locker room has responded to those losses? We remember the shows that we were doing after that SMU. We were worried about this team tanking it.
I've been saying it the last few weeks. They seem like they are in a fantastic mental place, my friend.
That's different. Isn't that different?
Mario culture is different, my friend. The statue must be built.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or you truly believe.
I truly believe this. I've been saying it since after the SMU game.
Yep, but I always thought that was like a weird coping mechanism of yours.
Dude, I've had longtime friends of mine texting me, asking me, they don't know if I'm trolling or not. I'm being completely serious. Like, I don't really understand. Like, Mike, our program hasn't been very good.
Yeah.
We had a 10-year run from 83 to 93.
Yep.
We had a 4-year run from 99 to 03.
Uh-huh.
We stunk. We have not been a relevant program, at all.
We've wasted the primes of our lives.
We've wasted the primes of our lives, and the program has wasted the primes of our lives.
Yep.
But guess what? Mario Cristobal is back and here, and relevance is being established. One more win, my friend, and there will be happiness of a clam, happiness of a darn clam.
I want to believe you. I want to believe that this is legit.
Go for it.
All right, you're just telling me jump right in.
Oh, what? Because I know
Jump
you're
right
going
in.
to say, I want to believe you, but
I'm not going to say the but. Everyone else, the but is implied, my friend.
it's the but. What's the but?
No,
But what?
What's the but?
Don't
What's the
believe
but?
me?
I'm not, no buts. I'm diving in.
You don't want to overachieve 2 years in a row based on what Vegas said we should do. You don't want to overachieve based on what our
That was
talent
like
level
some
is?
angle.
Wait, hold on.
That part always bothers
Hold on.
me.
So Haruta Guru says he does sound like a robot trying to convince his algo, and his avatar is a robot. So this guy knows robot.
I mean, look, you could call it robotic. I call it standing on business. Like, I'm standing on what I
Chad,
said.
let us know. Chad, let us know if you believe Pete. If you
Listen,
think Pete is being
I don't need anyone to believe what I know
do.
my truths
I need
are.
to know
I
what's
know what
happening
my
here.
truths are. I know what my truths are, and whether or not I can spread that to others in a non-propaganda manner, may I say?
Oh, is that a shot at us?
I
You
didn't.
guys,
Whoa!
that's fine. That's fine. That's no problem.
If
That's fine.
the shoe fits, wear it, my friend. But I did not say
I'll
that.
wear it so you don't have to.
Ganda
You don't.
here.
You don't want me on that wall. You
Ha-
need me on that wall.
Hashtag no Ganda here.
Yeah.
No, there's not gonna be any Ganda over here.
All right. Well,
no-
I'm Dave Arenga.
It's
Propaganda. I'm Dave Aranda.
look at this.
Propaganda.
The Pete message is spreading. 26 says if we win 10 the past 2 seasons, we'll make up 12% of the double-digit win seasons in program history. I know Pete loves that stat right there.
Dude, we've been good for 14 years. We've had about 14 good years in our program.
All right.
Before the 80s, not pretty.
All
But
right.
early to mid 90s to late 90s, not good.
Uh-huh.
99, turning the corner, not great. 2 fantastic seasons, and then we went like this. Boom, nosedive, bad, double boom nosedive. 20 plus years, 23 years of irrelevance. Relevance gets established Saturday. Because that narrative is way different going into next off season when you win back-to-back 10 games in a row. That narrative is way different when you finish the season winning 5 games in a row, or 4 games in a row, whatever, finishing out in cold weather situations. That's how you flip the narrative. The narrative doesn't get flipped by tweeting. The narrative gets flipped by establishing relevance for 2 years in a row. And then you get to say, this is what Mario Cristobal is in Miami. 10 wins a year, baseline, 10 wins a year. And then why don't we continue to add the pieces that need to be added?
All right.
Guess what? Hey,
all right.
I'm not done yet.
Okay.
Why is 10 wins a bad thing as a baseline? Because that's where we are right now.
I don't think anyone's saying that.
Changes need to be made. There needs to be some tweaks. There needs to be some things that get this program to the next level. Recruiting is not where it needs to be right now. And I will continue to say it until I'm blue in the face. This team is the 15th most talented team in the country, according to what the numbers say. That's not good enough. But guess what? They're ranked number 12 in the country right now. That's overachieving compared to the talent that Miami has. They need to get more talent here. They need to get more talent in here. The talent right now is a solid start. It's a great foundation. It's a great baseline for 10 wins. If you can recruit at an elite level, a top 5 to 7 class a year, and continue doing what you're doing in the transfer portal, boy, oh boy, those early 2000s years might be coming back right around, but we're not there yet.
So Pete, I know you have several passions in your life. One of those passions is, soccer. Other one is takes that are hard to classify as homer or pessimistic and are very unorthodox and unpredictable.
I don't know what's unorthodox about the take that I
was about to believe
I don't
you,
even
but
know
now
what the take. I don't even know what's the take.
I think you're doing bad.
I know.
What's the take?
I think you're doing bad.
There is the take is there is no take. It's factual. The take is made up in your homer side of the brain. The take starts to get recreated somehow. There is no take. It's factual information.
All right. I
know your third passion is clickbait, and particularly portal clickbait. And there is one that we got to talk about here because a story came out today that Nebraska's Dylan Raiola is considering entering the transfer portal, and that Nebraska is in fact expecting Dylan Raiola to enter the transfer portal. At least they're preparing for that possibility. It's now being reported. I know, Mike, you know about this. We've talked about this for a year, that last year, a lot of feelers went out on Dylan Raiola.
It was closer than people realized with Miami.
Yep.
I'm sure a lot of people, he was out there, right? Yeah. They were working it. Now his brother just decommitted from Nebraska, where he was committed to play quarterback. His dad is an alum. Team's not doing very well. Matt Rule's staying. I thought Matt Rule leaving might be the one that set everything off, but he's actually staying. Still looks like Raiola might enter the portal. He's out for the year with a broken fibula or tibula or one of these ibulas. But the player, number one player in the country, pull up the stats real quick. Number one player in the country out of high school, depending who you asked. He's just okay, starting as a true freshman. You look at the size, 6'3", 230. He's got that. For the career, so this is now through 2 seasons basically as a starter, 4,819 yards, 7.3 yards an attempt, 31 touchdowns, 17 picks, passer rating of 140, 72 completion percentage, however, this year, which is an impressive number with a pretty bad offensive line, similar to Carson Beck in that way that he's able to string those completions together. So Mike or Pete, whoever wants to take it first, where are you guys at on Dylan Raiola?
Go ahead, Pete.
Go ahead, Mike.
All right. Okay. I think he's okay. Wouldn't be atop my shopping list. Do I think he could maximize his talents down here? Shannon Dawson's proven that he can do that with quarterbacks. If you were to give me random potential quarterback name generator, I think I'd have quite a few names ahead of him.
Okay.
But do I rate him more than Emory? I'm also not exactly sure I do.
Whoa. I mean, he started 2 years.
I mean, that's a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do like experienced quarterbacks. So I guess maybe, especially since he has the upside, and that's kind of hard to ignore. Emory doesn't have that upside. I think we kind of know what Emory's ceiling would be, which is you got to have a lot of talent around him. For me, and I'll hammer this point home because knowing what I know from last year, Raiola being a possibility last year with his camp kind of putting stuff out there, I don't want to have any tape out there of me. I don't want to relive the Mendoza experience, right? I think that he could do work here. For me, I think the most important thing when it comes to that position, Miami has an identity. And I'm sorry to Emory Williams. Miami's identity is they go shopping in the portal and they try to take the best name that's available in the portal and build them up and try to win that way. We know how touch and go it's been the last couple of years. We got 2 quarterbacks that ended up declaring for the NFL draft, and we talked them back into going into college. We were looking at Jalen Daniels tape, trying to see, like, it was tough. We were this close to entering this season with Emory Williams at quarterback. We might have cost ourselves Concepcion. The year before, we cost ourselves CJ Daniels. We've had this conversation before. Whatever Miami does at the position, I know it's a little bit different now because the window starts in January, but I want that position solidified, and I want that position to be the first thing that's solidified this offseason so you can go out and build. Look how good Concepcion's been for Texas A&M. They absolutely nailed it in the portal. They knew who their quarterback was going to be. They sold him on a vision. When Concepcion came around and started taking visits with Miami, we had all this ambiguity surrounding the position, and I think it ultimately hurts your team's ability to win. I don't see the top dog like I saw with Cam Ward and Carson Beck even last year.
Right.
I think all these quarterbacks are bunched together. If I had to pick one that I like the most, it's Levitt.
Yeah.
I'll give you another name that I kind of like that I think Miami could do some winning with, and it's from the Big 12, Rocco Becht.
Uh-oh.
I think Rocco Becht
Tampa kid.
I think Rocco Becht would be a good fit down here. If you tell me right now I get Rocco Becht solidified at that position, go out and get talent around him, I think I'd be good. Bailey's also one of those names too.
Yeah.
I was a little worried with some of the stuff that I saw early on against Florida State, but he kind of settled in. If you tell me right now I get a quarterback that is like Bailey, let's use like.
Yeah.
Rather than these quarterbacks because they're playing for these other teams. Give me that right now. I have that position settled. Let me go pitch these prize talent positional players on. We have this quarterback. We're right there when it comes to the national title. Come here, elevate this quarterback. We have proof of concept and go. Pete, your thoughts?
I think that if Miami gets word that Sorsby is going to come back to school and not go to the league, that he right now would be the odds-on favorite to be Miami's quarterback next year. I think Raiola will be in the mix. I think Levitt will be in the mix.
Sorsby
from Cincinnati.
You think Sorsby?
Yeah,
Well,
I think
before you go, it's going back to you, but I want to, since you brought that up. So you see tweet from Bud Elliott saying this is a CBS college football reporter saying Miami are the field, thinking that Raiola would be a big possibility for Miami. But what I thought was interesting, and I'm going to give you back the mic on Sorsby.
I heard it was Sellers, or it was Sellers. It was Miami or the field too.
But there was a tweet from an On3 reporter responding to what Bud Elliott said. I'm trying to find the actual tweet, but somebody said that Sorsby, he was hearing, this is an On3 reporter, that he was hearing that Sorsby was the guy for Miami. It was just a throwaway tweet. It wasn't like anything too official.
I wouldn't say that's a throwaway tweet. I think there's credence to it, D. I think
I think so too.
I think
the pros are going to loom large, I think, for Sorsby. There's no competition this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
it's real too.
Yeah, I think you're setting the table now for a bunch of QBs.
He was a guy that I liked earlier in the season, and the tape that he's put on.
I just thought he should go to the league because the QB situation, the QB class is
He's
not
been hurt
great.
though, right? He's been battling through an injury.
Has he?
They mentioned that on the broadcast. Like, I think there's an explanation for why his plays kind of tailed off a little bit.
Been great, is what people have said. But no, I think he would be. I think Raiola again. I put a lot of weight into knowing that Miami was a big fan of his last offseason. I don't know what one season. Obviously, there will be some narrative that changes about him. I'm sure that he's got some warts on him, right? But I think Miami's a fan of the talent. I think there are better options.
What did you think of Rocco Becht?
He's a good player. I think the upside's limited.
Yeah, D's not gonna like him because he doesn't have big arm and stuff like that. But I like him as a guy who can win.
He's okay. You can win with him. I think a step down from some of the guys. I like talented guys. You know,
but you're gonna say he's not talented though. That's
he's college talented, but he's not like. I mean, if you ask me Lenore Sellers or Becht, I would say Lenore Sellers all day, every day by a mile.
Who's the most toolsy quarterback that's been talked about?
Sellers.
You think he's the toolsiest?
He's. I mean, he might be drafted 4th, 3rd, 2nd round if he went pro this year. Not that he should.
Have you watched any of that Levitt tape?
Levitt's good. Levitt, the foot worries me. I've heard some character stuff too. He's not for everybody.
Broccoli haircut. Yeah, that's a character issue.
Listen, the character stuff we have to throw away right now. I think because both guys who got brought into Miami had character questions from scouts and stuff like that. So I think we gotta trust the staff that whoever they bring in feels like it's a good fit for Miami. I'm not completely disagreeing with you, D, on Levitt. but I also think that could play in Miami.
Yeah.
You know.
So Trey Kendrick says in the chat, Damon Williams from Washington. He was a name that I was looking at early on, and then I watched a couple of games of his. Dude cannot throw.
Yeah. So anyways, I pulled up this tweet from Clark Brooks. So he runs the transfer. I don't know if he runs, but he's the transfer portal reporter for On3, which again, On3 is a big deal now. They're spending a lot of money. They got real sources. They're on the cutting edge of a lot of these coaching searches and things like that, and the portal. So they're plugged in. So I wouldn't just push this aside. But he's saying Miami likes Sorsby despite the accuracy issues. What I'll say is this: Miami's been pretty tight-lipped on all this, and
they have to be.
And I've seen this process firsthand. I saw it last year. It's not a straight line process, right? So take everything you hear with a grain of salt, because a lot of people just don't know. Like, things change. It's a very fluid process.
I think they're lining guys up, though, is what
they are, and agents are talking. So a lot of stuff I think you hear from like On3, right? Or what are some of these guys? Their sources for the most part are going to be agents for these quarterbacks. So a lot of that is in that side of the equation. But I think Sorsby, man,
I was a Sorsby guy,
I like his
his
talent.
In the group chat, like, when we're fantasy booking who Miami's quarterback would be, like, me and another person that likes to call himself a coach, we're out there doing the hard hitting evals on Sorsby, and I think some of that momentum is slowed, but I think you can explain it with the injuries. I've been a Sorsby guy. Yeah,
some people are saying, do you like tools or college players? To me, I think you take a guy with tools that's good intangibles, like good mentally, and you put them behind the best pass protecting line in the country, which Miami has proven to be. And I just pulled the stat. Let me find the stat that I just tweeted out here. Miami's pass protection is the absolute best in the country by a mile. It's not even close right now. So if you take the absolute best pass protection in the nation by a mile, and here we go, here's the stat. Look at the difference between 1 and 2 here. And you put a talented quarterback behind it with NFL tools, they're more likely to realize those tools, because look at that pressure rate. I mean, look at the difference between 1 and 2, and look at the difference between 2 and everybody else.
Chat, stop saying messmaker. Some of you guys have deduced he's going to Oklahoma State.
Go Bucks.
Yeah. So
love that hire for us.
I was a package deal. DC's going there too.
Yeah. So that's where I would lean here when it comes to transfer portal quarterbacks. We'll see what happens with Sorsby. It's going to be an interesting thing, and Raiola, right? So Miami's going to be at the front of mind for all these guys.
Raiola's intriguing. I'm with the chat. I don't like the Patrick Mahomes thing either.
Yeah, it's too weird.
I think, to me, there are two that really, I guess, tickle my fancy the most in terms of names that are possibilities that have been rumored.
Tickle the fancy.
Yeah. I
Is
think
that like a lewd saying that's been watered down over the years? Like, what does it mean? Because
have you ever had your fancy tickled?
It depends what you're talking about. That's what I'm saying. I want to know the origin. Is this a naturally lewd phrase that's just been, watered down over the years?
I like Levitt. I like the upside of Sellers intrigues me. The tools are there. I think Sorsby's a good option. Again, like any of these names, you tell me that I have them set at the position, and I got coffers to go after all these other people. Give me that scenario. It's not a Cam Ward. It's not a Carson Beck type season. There isn't a perfect prospect out there at the position,
and they weren't perfect themselves either.
No, but it was more character stuff, which you leave
injured.
A place. Yeah, but he had character stuff too.
Yep.
Locker room guy.
Yep.
Some of that stuff, like the internet's made up its mind about him. There is one thing that I wanted to get into before we get into the nonsense portion of this,
Please.
which is
we talked about the nonsense earlier.
Yeah, I'm not going to invoke the Fighting Irish. It seems pretty clear the Fighting Irish will be ahead of Miami no matter what. So what is Miami's path to the CFP if that plays out? If that grave injustice is carried out? Miami's path. Last week we had the top 14 in the nation win all on the same week. That's the first time that's happened in years. It's rivalry week in college football. We need a chaos factor. But we need chaos factor specific to slots. I'm not even going to include Oregon in this because I saw what they did with Oregon. Moved them up one so they can survive that second loss. So we need chaos in spots 7 through 14. We need number 15 in Michigan to not win at Ohio State, because if Michigan wins at Ohio State, Miami is done, I think.
Yeah.
Done.
Dangerous. Yeah, dangerous spot.
We can't have that. And trusting Ryan Day in this game is pretty scary for any Miami Hurricanes fan. Here we go. Ole Miss, Egg Bowl, We've heard the committee. They've come out on record. They've already been knocked down a spot. It's a kooky game, a spooky Friday night. Mississippi State, they can win that game. They win that game. What happens with Lane? I am of and credit to Lane Kiffin's camp. I've been on this. I know a decision was made. It was made on Friday. I'm certain it was effectively hijacked by LSU, and I think he's going to go to LSU. However, I haven't heard a peep since Friday when I was told that was when the decision was made.
Getting ready for the Egg Bowl.
That, if you've seen his press conferences, I think he's handled it about as well as you can. The AD has come out and said a decision on Lane Kiffin's future will be announced Saturday. Let's say we follow the odds. Lane Kiffin goes to LSU. Does he stick around with Ole Miss? What does this do to the perception of Ole Miss? I think no matter what, you need Ole Miss to lose that Egg Bowl if you're a Miami Hurricanes fan, because the specter of Lane Kiffin leaving, the committee already saying they'll hold that against Ole Miss if he does indeed leave. You have a legit shot. If Lane Kiffin's not going to be on that staff for the CFP, potentially, you have a legit shot. If you handle your business at Pitt at jumping Ole Miss, what say you?
I think if Mississippi State wins, we're going to jump Ole Miss easy. Ole Miss hasn't beaten Ole Miss hasn't beaten anybody. Their momentum.
They beat Oklahoma.
You're right. You know what? They have. I can't believe Oklahoma has not lost one of these games. I thought that I was so one of the reasons I was so confident was because I thought for sure
Venables was getting fired. I remember we were talking about it at
their schedule was brutal and their offense sucks. It still sucks, but they've been doing just enough. So credit to them getting it through, man. Yeah.
They've got LSU. If they lose, if Oklahoma goes to 3 losses, they're out.
Oklahoma out for sure. Alabama, I think, out probably
with a loss
unless they win the SEC.
Now that line is 5.5. Auburn has made big spreads tight in this game.
I think Texas jumps us if they beat A&M.
No, they don't. 3 losses, they won't let
jump us. They jump us.
No, 3 losses.
I think there's a better chance than you're giving it right now.
I think that, look, Michigan worries me. They have 2 losses. Big Ten's a better conference in the SEC, if we're being honest. At least a lot has been at the top. So, I don't think it's kind of weird that, we assume there's 5 SEC teams that should be in, and there's only, 2 or 3 Big Ten teams that should be in. We'll see what happens with Michigan and Ohio State.
I said there'd be 5 SEC teams in last week. You guys laughed at me.
We didn't laugh at
you.
Do
we want Georgia?
You immediately shot it down and said, no way.
We want Georgia Tech to beat Georgia. Or do we like Georgia exactly where they're at?
No, let Georgia Tech beat Georgia. What difference does it make?
I think it helps. Yeah. I think it helps the narrative with the ACC.
Yeah, I think
being a stronger conference than most people realize. Georgia Tech is so low right now. They're not going to have an opportunity for Charlotte. They'll climb, but they won't pass Miami if Miami handles its business. That Georgia win will not be enough.
Yeah, I agree with
so
that.
Let's go Ramblin' Wreck.
Yeah.
And it's not going to knock Georgia out of the playoffs. It'll keep them ahead of Miami.
Probably should, though, right? Considering that these ACC losses are all bad losses. But
only if it's an ACC team beating an ACC team.
Right.
If it's an ACC team beating an SEC team, it doesn't exist.
By multiple touchdowns, like it happened with Alabama. Mm-hmm. But I do think if all those teams, if Ole Miss loses, the momentum of losing, the fact that Lane Kiffin will leave them, that can be factored in. And they're just not that good of a team. They're like Lane's done a great job getting them to this point because of all these teams, they have the worst talent, I would say. Just they're the worst team. Oklahoma on offense, yes, but their defense is so good that you give it to Oklahoma, even though Ole Miss defeated Oklahoma. But they're probably in the same tier. I think the other teams are better. Ole Miss with the momentum gone, I think, would be out. Now, does Vanderbilt jump in beating Tennessee? And they just get 5 SEC teams into the back door. I don't know if they do that to Miami because they'd want to avoid the Miami-Notre Dame debate.
I think they've shown you that they're fully prepared to screw Miami over. They're actively doing it right now, and they've conditioned you for 3 weeks on this. If BYU loses to UCF, they're done. We don't expect them to lose to UCF. We expect BYU to make it to the Big 12 title game. And if they lose, hope against hope that it gets held against them. I don't know. One thing that I will commend, Brett Yormark's leadership has been stellar. Look at this CFP right now. And I know head-to-head against the ACC, Big 12 looks good. So those are the cards that were dealt. We conquered the Utah issue.
Yep.
We are ahead of Utah, justifiably so. That is well done by the CFP.
Rear view mirror.
Yeah, I would think. But look at what's happening here. Arizona State, we mentioned it. Like, why are they ranked last week? They shot up to number 20. They are number 20 in the CFP. They are not in the AP top 25. That is Utah's best win. We have to look out for that. Arizona State is presently ahead of SMU. Best I can tell, Arizona State at 20 is only there to lift up the rest of the Big 12. But I'm highlighting this in that if Arizona State is number 20, if we were scratching our heads for weeks saying, why is Utah ahead of Miami? BYU I have respect for. And I think if you look at their resume right now, should be ahead of Miami. I think they should also be ahead of Notre Dame. And they should be ahead of Alabama. They have Texas Tech over there. I'm a little worried seeing these rankings and how pro this committee has been. We know that they've got a couple Big 12 guys on that committee. I'm a little worried that if BYU does indeed lose that game, it's not going to be held against them and they'll stay ahead of Miami.
No, I'm more worried about them beating Texas Tech and then Texas Tech Miami becoming a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's where I would get nervous.
Could be a second loss for Texas Tech,
but they would have beaten the team that just beat them. You know, I don't know. That one would scare me a little bit. Is the Texas Tech Miami battle? BYU, I think if they lose, there's just not going to be a lot of juice to get them in there. You've lost to the only real team you've played twice. You know, I don't think anybody expects BYU to be a threat to win a championship. Miami could win the championship. They have enough players to do it. BYU
that's why
just
this hurts.
doesn't. Yeah.
That's why this hurts. That's why a part of me died in Dallas, because it's wide open this year. I want to spot the ball against all these teams. I want to measure myself up against Ohio State. I think we can beat these guys.
And by the way, when national media's talked about this, I know Scott Van Pelt was one. You heard Reese Davis say what it was to be a delicious matchup, I believe was the word used. He's used the word delicious to talk about Miami versus Oregon as a potential matchup.
I'd like that.
I
know that they want that. Okay.
SVP talked about all the different matchups. He goes, I want Miami in the tournament just for entertainment value, just because Miami against Oregon, Miami against Georgia, right? There's a lot of cool matchups that you can put together here with Carson Beck playing Georgia, Mario playing Oregon, a rematch of Miami, Notre Dame, Miami, Ohio. Like, there's a lot of Miami related matchups here that I think would be very interesting to watch as a fan, even if you're not a Canes fan, and you're seeing that with the national media. So all I got to do, take care of business with Pitt, and then that, to me, the information war kicks up another gear. I'm fine laying landmines.
Are you good then? Are you good? Are you good with us fighting that propaganda battle if we have that result in hand?
Listen, you guys can do whatever the heck you want. I'm just saying I'm not joining in, and I don't think it's making any difference. You just waste your energy and hope the team let's just hope the team wins, right?
I don't think it's wasted.
Right? Let's just hope they win. That's what you guys said, because you're nervous about it. I'm not nervous about it.
Okay.
Listen, your guys' words and actions are two different things, man. You guys are worried about this game this weekend, and you're out here parading around for this team to make the playoff. Let's show some confidence. Winning is hard. And Mario Cristobal is about to do it for 2 years in a row. 10 of them things, man. Put some respect on that guy's name, man.
I think you're doing a bit.
You can think all you want, my friend. I think what you're doing is
you're
not
doing
necessary.
A bit. You're doing a bit.
I think you're doing a bit. Well, you're gonna have a bit off then, all right? Huh?
Yeah, I am doing a bit.
I'm not doing a bit.
I am doing a bit.
You just admitted it then.
Yeah, I'm doing a bit to benefit the program. You want me on that wall? You need me on that wall.
You know what I need on the wall?
What's on the wall?
I need 10 of them things back to back.
All right, let's do the rest of the week.
All right, hold us. Okay, so let's start with the rest of the week then here. I will start. We're going at the pit.
Do you have the Tehran Terrier?
Is the Tehran Terrier there? Can you put
multiple things on the screen?
Well, I can have to take one.
There he is.
Oh, there he is.
There he is, watching us. He likes your energy today, Pete. Although he would love you to support the cause a little bit more, I think.
I mean, it's not going to make a difference. And if he thinks that it will, then that shows you what his propaganda machine is working like behind the scenes. Unbelievable. Gorby, come on, brother. Not gonna make a difference. Let's just go win this game.
So moving on, I'll start with my rest of the week, Pete, which is Pittsburgh's our opponent this week. One of the strongest wrestling cities around. Two really stand out above them all when it comes to Pittsburgh. You think of the great Bruno Sammartino. Bruno Mars, the multi-platinum recording artist, was actually named after Bruno Sammartino. Sold out Madison Square Garden more than anybody. One of the greatest of all time. Hid from the Nazis in the hills of Italy, the mountains of Italy, for many years before coming to the United States. It's like maybe it was like a year plus hiding from Nazis. Goes to USA, becomes a strongman, one of the greatest champions of all time, the best wrestler of the 1970s. So that was the Pittsburgh legend of all time until this man came along. Gold medalist Kurt Angle You know all the slogans. You suck. It's true. Gargling the milk instead of chugging the milk instead of the beer coming from the milk truck. So many classic bits with Kurt Angle. He was a big match machine for a while. He had the match with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, one of the best matches in WrestleMania history. Had a great random match with The Undertaker in one of these like non-tentpole pay-per-views that they had a million names for.
Backlash.
One of those, yeah. He had a great match with The Undertaker in one of those.
No
and
mercy.
just one of the best of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, well, there's nothing much to say other than he is one of the greatest of all time from Pittsburgh.
He doesn't like the Perk Angle nickname. We will not mention that, but the things that he was doing, while he admits he was under the influence when he was in TNA, it boggles the mind. Kurt Angle's one of those wrestlers that could have done it in any era and carried the strap. You drop him in the 70s, 80s, 90s to today. That guy is going to be a world champion at some point, carrying the banner. Found his comedic chops too, was surprisingly good at that. As good in the ring as you could ever ask for. Believable, had the bona fides, could go up against a super heavyweight, and you thought, no, he could kick Brock Lesnar's ass in real life. Why? Because he did.
That's right.
That's the lore.
That's right.
Kurt Angle's a friggin' man. Great matches, and check out his TNA stuff, because arguably he was putting up his best work when very few people were watching. Classics against AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. That flip that he did against Abyss, like it'll pop up on your feed like once every 2 weeks,
it's
and you're
crazy.
still wondering how smooth, how crazy was that? He wasn't a high flyer. Could wrestle any style. Was super believable. Super intense when he needed to be. Could turn on a dime. The guy's a man.
Yeah, the great match he had. Just some of his random classics. Him and Benoit against Rey Mysterio and Edge.
Oh,
That was just unbelievable era of
great stuff.
SmackDown. They were those matches were off the charts. So shout out to Kurt Angle. So talk to us. Who you got this week, Mike?
The Gobbledygooker. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. The Gobbledygooker was one of the big duds in the history of professional wrestling. There was this big egg that was going to be revealed at a Survivor Series. Mean Gene selling his ass off for this thing. The egg starts breaking, and everyone's wondering, who's it going to be? Is it going to be a WCW star? I don't know. Who is it? And then as a guy dressed as a turkey, do you know who was under the mask?
No, who was it? I really don't.
Hector Guerrero.
Huh.
Eddie Guerrero's brother.
Huh.
Hector Guerrero was a Gobbledygooker.
There's also Pete Rose at one point. Oh, that was a San Diego Chicken.
Yeah.
That was a San Diego Chicken, which was tombstone by Future. So you had Pete Rose, Major League Baseball hit king, dressed up as a San Diego Chicken, being tombstone by Future Mayor of Knox County, Kane.
Yeah.
But that's a different bird costume.
It's my favorite. It's my first memory of ever being let down by the product.
So you remember this? I really was a kid.
Yeah.
I really don't remember.
I didn't watch it live. I watched it on VHS, which was the first time that I
Blockbuster.
would watch it. My dad had it recorded. I watched it. I'm like, I can't believe who is this going to be? And it's just a turkey.
Yeah,
it was so disappointing.
I wonder what they thought was going to happen.
It's really like one of the great misfires, because there was a lot of momentum for it to be like a big swerve on the audience, and they worked them all right. It was a guy dressed as, it was a Guerrero from the famous Guerrero family. He ended up being the Gobbledygooker. Hector Guerrero put up some pretty decent matches on Monday Nitro when they had the cruiserweights.
Yeah, I don't remember him. I obviously remember Chavo. I don't remember Hector.
He had a mustache. He wore tights. Older. Didn't work out leg day when he was the Gobbledygooker. Pete, do you have one?
No, but one time Duke Johnson called me a gook on Twitter because I said Klay Thompson was better than D Wade.
That's true, but just to clarify, he was not using an anti-Asian slur. It was a South Florida just slang term. You, in fact, do not have Asian descent, Pete, and there would be no reason for him to use an anti-Asian slur. It was simply a South Florida street term.
I regret tossing it to you. That's my bad.
There it is. Shout out Denzel Curry. So it's a local slang. Wow.
Why are you so nervous over there? You were bringing up some topics earlier.
Wait, Pete. So hold on. Well, what was what made you before we get to War Games? What made you why do you call you that? What was the?
I just said it. I said Klay Thompson was better than D Wade in NBA history. Klay Thompson's a better shooting guard than Dwayne Wade. That there really wasn't nothing.
Do you still believe it?
I do believe it. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about war games. So this is always a fun time in the calendar. Usually the Canes are out of it, so I'm like locked in on war games just to get my mind off college football because I'm mad. But now I'm kind of so in on college football, war games. I'm not as tuned in on. But I know P, you stay locked in on war games and everything that's happening, even while running this Canes empire that you've been part of. So what do you mean? I mean, what's up with war games?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You just did a whole segment about it earlier.
They had a thing on ESPN about it. I have no idea what that is.
It's a match beyond.
Pete, you were talking about NXT 2 weeks ago. You don't know what war games is?
I have no idea, man.
Okay. Honestly, you've killed it this show.
I've killed the show.
No, you've killed it this show.
Thank you.
You never know. You just never know.
That is such a crazy response.
You never.
All right. That's unfortunate.
Wait, hold on. So we're gonna get some real college football talk here with our picks of the week. First, I want everybody to take a step back, unwind the nice cool can of BUZZN.
I'm gonna help myself. Do we have some?
We do have some.
Right.
Unless they've been grab one if everybody else that uses Gossip will do this. Shout out to 786 Sports who provided this. By the way, shout out to Pop Subs. Shout out to Patrick at Pop Subs as always for the great sub we ate before the show. But yeah, BUZZN. That's what you want to wash it down with. 7.5 milligrams, real THC infused seltzer. Just unbelievable. No hangover. You can celebrate the Canes win on Saturday nonstop, and you're not going to have a hangover. All bubbles, no troubles. Choose your chill with BUZZN. All hang, no hangover. You know what it is. BUZZN. Drink BUZZN.com. Use code FIRST35 for 35% off. There's no more BUZZN in the fridge. They left all the Coronas and they took the BUZZN. That's what happens. That's what happens when you have BUZZN in the fridge, man. It doesn't last very long, but shout out to BUZZN. BUZZN. You can get at Big Daddy's Liquors all across South Florida. So, Mike, let's get to the picks here. So I think that we're doing a little bit of wish casting.
Yeah, a lot of wishful thinking in our picks, huh?
So I will be the first one. Pull up the graphic if you can. There we go. So we're wish casting here, and we have a couple like real picks sprinkled in. So with South Carolina, this one doesn't really impact the Canes. I just think South Carolina at home, they won this game last year.
I think it helps. I think it helps if Clemson wins that game for
Clemson
SEC narrative.
Just get that momentum going.
Yeah.
But I do think Lenore Sellers puts on a show. He did last year against Clemson. That was a sort of, not his coming out party, but that was his wow. This guy looks like an NFL player performance. So Clemson, I just really don't like the way they've looked. I know they've won a couple games and kind of gotten some juice flowing back into the program, but I think South Carolina gets this one done. And that's the normal pick. The wish casting picks, which I kind of believe. Virginia Tech, 8.5.
Great line movement. If you're hoping that Virginia stumbles, that line opened up at what, 11.5? It's already tumbled 3 points. Who's going to be playing quarterback for Virginia Tech? Is it going to be Drones?
Oh, I forgot about that before I made the pick. Yeah, he was banged up. I assumed he's okay if the line's dropping.
Or
he's always kind of hurt.
Didn't that backup quarterback beat Virginia last year?
There you go. You listen. Yeah, I'm trusting you with this pick.
He gave that team juice when he checked into the game. I'm like, this guy's going to score. The crowd is
he dragged
cheering
us into the end zone.
Yeah, this crowd is cheering way too loud for this guy for him to not be legit.
Gary says you guys nailed NC State plus 4.5. Yeah, I've learned to bet against FSU. Mike's been doing it all year. I've been more hesitant, and that was foolish on my part. But yeah, I think Virginia Tech. I was not a big Virginia believer, and Virginia Tech's going to be amped up, assuming their quarterback situation is good. We know they can run the ball.
Coming off a bye though.
Yeah, but are they getting tight? Are they getting tight knowing they got to win and they're in? They've never been in this position before. I don't know. I think Virginia Tech's running game impressed me. That could be enough to carry the day. We'll see. But I like BT 8.5. I wish I had it at 10.5 like you got it. And then Cal plus 13.5 SMU. I like the points more than the game. I think SMU is a well-coached team. They're so good in the ACC. It's hard to envision them losing on the doorstep of the ACC championship game. But 13.5 is too much. Cal's going to get the new coach bump. Pete's boy, Nick Rolovich. He's been talking about him for years.
Ball coach.
So I like
he
Cal.
says Berkeley to me.
Yeah. I like Cal to at least cover in this one, but a win would do wonders for Miami.
I'm so confused as to whether I'm so confused as to who to root for in that game.
Cal, SMU? Well, Cal, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so too. But then it's like if SMU loses, you need like so many other things to happen too. I think the easiest path is like UVA losing and Duke losing.
Ugh.
And of course, Miami winning.
Losing. They're not going to win that game.
Yeah, you know what? Wake should be on my card. Let's make that a bonus pick.
Dude, that's
Wake's
not
on our
a
card.
game Manny Diaz has ever won, a game of relevance. So he has just not this doesn't happen, and it won't happen this weekend.
God, that'd be so terrible if Manny Diaz finds his way in the ACC
He
championship.
won't.
Shows you why these conference championship games are messed up.
Yeah.
All right, but this is the big one to me. This is the one that I think really would clear the way. I think if Mississippi State wins, we're in. So, Mike, you got Mississippi State. There's no number next attached.
7.5 is what I saw. That's what I locked it in on. I think that game is inside that number. This game's in Starkville. Tough place to play. The cowbells should be illegal. It's crazy. They've come so close to having a marquee win this year, and they just haven't been able to do that. Not great vibes around Ole Miss. This is a bad situation right now. This has all the makings of your standard rivalry week loss for Ole Miss. And your heart kind of breaks for the kids on that team a little bit. Not to make them children. They're a lot of them are making a lot of money at Ole Miss. It is a different era, like Lane Kiffin said, but they're on the precipice of having their greatest season, of our lifetimes.
So are we.
And,
so are we.
Yeah.
Since Archie Manning.
Mm-hmm. And to potentially be shut out of the CFP because your coach did such a great job at your program, that kind of stinks. But I'm gonna take Mississippi State there. Weird things happen in this game too. Like a guy will all of a sudden pee on a football like he's a dog, and a win will turn into a loss real quick. Auburn, you got a coach that's trying to shake off some of his very controversial past and make and stake his claim to being full-time head coach over there. This is a lot of under the lights, a lot of juice to this rivalry.
Good defense.
We haven't been convinced that Alabama's all that good, and they've kind of escaped with some of these miracle covers, and some of these final scores aren't reflective of the dogfights they've been in. They've been able to escape it, but at the heart of this team, it's still a team that lost to FSU. So they can drop anything. And Auburn, man, I've hated betting them all season long. They're pretty much on the ban list, but new quarterbacks in there, new juice with a head coach, interim or not, an entire town knowing that they can absolutely ruin Alabama's shot at an SEC title and CFP hopes. This game will have some juice. I think this game is close and Auburn falls within that number. I kind of think, gun to my head, Alabama gets another miracle finish, and Miami needs help, and I don't know if we can count on Auburn and give it to them, but boy, would I love that. And in closing, Georgia Tech, Georgia, one of the best games I've ever seen.
This is your favorite game of the year, I feel, annually.
Yeah.
You talk about this game all year.
Yeah. Last year I was looking forward to that, and it delivered 6 overtimes, I believe. Those two teams were close. It was in Athens. Here's what I'll tell you. Georgia, while figuring things out, no doubt, they're worse than they were last year. Georgia Tech, while their defense is not looking good lately, better than they were last year. Haynes King at quarterback. Rare time in this matchup where they've had the quarterback advantage, I think, although Gunnar Stockton's looking better. This is exactly where Brent Key wants to be. This is where he became a thorn in so many people's sides. A 13.5-point dog in Atlanta, not Bobby Dodd. That's a different animal. I'd much rather this be a sleepy noon start at Bobby Dodd than Mercedes-Benz Stadium that's going to be split 50-50 at best for Georgia Tech. But I like Georgia Tech with the points here. I think their offense can keep pace. I'm not that impressed with what I've seen from Georgia. I like Georgia Tech coming off a loss. And if you're a narrative person, this helps Miami. Miami could have made the CFP last year had Georgia Tech not been screwed in that game against Georgia. I haven't seen anything this season that tells me Georgia's 13.5 points better than Georgia Tech. This is not dog. This is not rivalry week. I think they got this line wrong. And I'm going to be taking the Ramblin' Wreck, and I'm going to be sprinkling on money line.
That Georgia Tech defense is so bad, man. I was just going back and watching that Pittsburgh game. It reminded me of us last year in terms of the miscommunications, like the mentals being just as bad as the lack of talent, but they have even less talent than we had last year. Let's see
what Coach Key's made out of. He's got glaring issues. Can he fix them?
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch, though. This is going to be fun. Look, if Miami takes care of business at noon, this is going to be the greatest Saturday ever. Just sit back and watching games.
If they do, man, let's go win 10, man. All this doubt surrounding this program today.
Yeah.
And when I say this program, I'm talking about this show, this YouTube stream. this CanesInSight Live with D Money and Mike Ryan for all the glory. A
If
lot of
any
doubt.
other-
Lot of doubt.
If any other,
That's not the guys that I remember. Because I'm confident.
if any other running backs for the University of Miami have called you a racial slur, please say it now or forever hold your peace.
Who you beef with? You're pretty. No one's really gotten mad at you. Romello Height called you something for criticizing Manny right before he decommitted.
He told me not to ever criticize his coach. He DM'd me. He said, "Don't ever talk about my coach like that."
Melo Heights played for a bunch of different coaches. I don't think Manny Diaz has been one of them.
Yeah, it's not one of them.
Definitely not.
All right, so let's get to the song of the week here. So I'll go ahead and start because this is a good one here. I'm excited about this one. This is my guy Tim Maia, who is an icon of Brazilian music. And this song, it's actually written while he was in a UFO cult. So he was in a UFO cult called the Rational Culture, which I don't follow exactly what they believe, but they've taken African spiritualism and replaced it with UFOs, something along those lines. So he was part of the cult when this album came out, combining soul, reggae, Brazilian music all together, and then, of course, UFO theology. And it was an incredible album. When he joined the cult, he couldn't drink anymore. And this guy was a major drug addict, major drinker. So he got clean in the cult. So his singing was phenomenal. So a lot of people consider this his best album. There you see the album cover right there?
Yeah.
That's it. You see, that's the UFO cult right there.
Did you watch Age of Disclosure?
No, what's that?
It's Marco Rubio's in it. It's the documentary
about the
about
UFO, yeah.
UAPs.
Maybe they're right. Maybe these guys were onto something. But this album right here, the whole album is phenomenal. He actually tried to get this album kind of eliminated from the world before he died because he left the cult. So he didn't want to be associated with the cult anymore. But the album was so good that people found it, kept releasing it, and now it's on all streaming after Tim Maia died. But Tim Maia, a legend, one of the best Brazilian artists of all time. Check him out, man. Shout out to the people who put me on. My guy Abe in Brazil. This guy's an actual Brazilian who became a Canes fan during the last 20 years. So he's only seen us be bad. That's all he knows about American football. But for some reason, he's a Canes fan, watches the show. Shout out to Abe. And shout out to my boy Andy. My boy Andy's the one that really put me onto Tim Maia. He, lifelong friend, known him since I was 5 years old. This guy got money selling Jane Austen novels on Amazon. Because you know when like novels, they go public domain after a while, no one owns the rights. Like, you know, like it's like
Steamboat Willie.
Right. It goes public domain, so everybody could do it. So he started taking Jane Austen novels, selling on Amazon, and now he lives in Brazil, the easternmost point of Brazil, with a 25-year-old girlfriend, living the life, man. So shout out to Andy, living the life off those Jane Austen novels.
With anything?
He's the one that put me out to Tim Maia. But also, me and Andy back in 1999 when Ken Dorsey was rolling. Listen to this. Back in 99 when Ken Dorsey was rolling, we used to take the VHS videos, connect two VCRs, and make highlight reels of the Canes. This is Ken Dorsey, the Gator Bowl year when he took over. So we made highlight reels of the Canes and also highlight reels of Rey Mysterio versus Juventud Guerrera into just little clip shows back the old-fashioned way. We'd put like random songs like AC/DC, George Michael Faith, I think was one for some reason. And, all these years later, look how far we've come here.
Wow, it's been a long show.
What song you got?
Interpol, PDA. I love Interpol. I love this band. I love that turn of the century New York alt rock scene. There's a great book that's an oral history, one of the best oral histories ever written about a music scene. Meet Me in the Bathroom. As a big Interpol fan, they come across as cool as you can even imagine, effortlessly cool. Even though a lot of effort goes into their overall look, you had the Strokes that try to pretend like they didn't care, even though they were all nepo babies, and you had Interpol trying to dress the part. To me, I love the Strokes, but if I'm picking a quintessential turn of the century New York band, for me it's Interpol. I'm an Interpol guy. I got jealous because Deftones is one of my favorite bands. They're going to Australia. Interpol are opening up for Deftones. I can't believe that double bill over there. This Turn on the Bright Lights is one of my favorite albums of all time. Great vinyl record. Pour yourself a glass of wine. Listen to this album start to finish. Doesn't lull at all. It's a great album, and I love this band. So check it out, PDA. I just wanted to put a song in the playlist that I really loved.
Shout out to the Axe, by the way. The honorary Oos is in the chat right there. So shout out to the honorary Oos. I know he's enjoying this Heat run. Really, I mean, Axe, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the Heat are kind of revolutionizing basketball in a way with their new style of offense, no picks. Really, you might say this is a seminal moment in the history of the sport of basketball as it shifts from a pick and roll dominated game to a new era that's ushered in by the coach of the year, Eric Spoelstra, and the Godfather, Pat Riley. You can't say enough good things about the Heat organization is what kind of my baseline philosophy is. Coach Echo says, D, you never tweet out the playlist. I didn't do it right now. Right when we finish the show, I'm tweeting out that playlist, Coach. So check it out. Put on Spotify, put on iTunes. All of our is iTunes still a thing? I always ask. Apple Music, Spotify. We'll have the CanesInSight playlist. All of our songs of the week. All the songs I use on the pre-season pump up pods, which still relevant. All right, the preseason pod's still alive. January 19th. That goal is still in sight. Beat Pitt.
What's more
take care of
likely?
business.
That's actually Ben Axelrod or Miami jumps Notre Dame in the next college football playoff rankings. I'm going to say both improbable, both unlikely, but I'll take that's the real Ben Axelrod over Miami jumping Notre Dame.
No, that's the honorary Oos. I know his tone. That's our guy. But anyways, appreciate you guys joining us.
Hopefully he jumped in right then and he didn't see the 15 minutes prior.
Like and subscribe to the show. Soon in tomorrow, we'll be back on rocking and rolling. And of course, every Wednesday we'll be celebrating.
We have
next
plausible
Wednesday.
deniability with Pete. He has no idea what happened. Look at his face.
I didn't think it was that bad. That was not a slur. I'm pretty familiar with some of these controversial comments. That's not a slur. It's not a racial comment. It was a South Florida slang term.
Rich coming from you.
Ches Banks, he's fired up. Let's go, Canes.
All right.
10-2.
I'm exhausted. This show's taken 3 months.
I think it's been all the tweeting the last couple of weeks.